My, oh my, wake the kids, get the neighbors. This is an extravaganza you won't want to miss. Welcome into the Farzy Show, presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com, coming to you live as we do every day, Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. from the Steven Singer Studios. 76ers fall to the Milwaukee Bucks in a game that had a very unfortunate ending. And it's not just the fact that they lost, it's how they lost. And a lot of people that are among the fire Doc Rivers the contingent took a step in a good direction as far as maybe firing Doc Rivers, at least last night. So we'll get into that. Kelly Green uniform set to come back for the Philadelphia Eagles. I never thought I'd see it. The Phillies go over the luxury tax, and the Eagles go back to Kelly Green jerseys in a year. Not this year, but next year they'll go back to Kelly Green jerseys. This, believe it or not, is one of the things I have thought has been the most controversial subjects within the NovaCare complex, and I'll explain that a little bit later in the show. Aaron Nola, at any point, just if you want to give us some warm and fuzzies about spring training, we'll take them. That's it. I'm not saying go out there and throw like perfect innings. I'm just saying go out there and just be like, oh yeah, he'll be fine. Yeah, we're not concerned. And as I have said, because the last time I brought this up, people were hitting me up in the comments after the show. Not the people in the chat check that know what's up every single day, but the people that hit me up after the show were like, "Oh, what are you worried about Aaron Nola for? He's fine. Why it's spring training?" Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about spring training. For the people that want to say, "Why are you worried about Aaron Nola? It's only spring." My whole point was, if you were worried about Aaron Nola now, which some people are because of what he's doing this spring, I'm more of the school of, what took you so long? I've been worried about Aaron Nola for 2 years and now this spring training. So welcome to the party, pal. That's really all I was saying about that. That the spring training numbers don't make me go, oh man, this guy's going to suck. Really what happened since he finished in the top 3 in the Cy Young voting 3 years ago, the last 2 seasons, and now what I've seen in the spring have kind of led me to believe, I don't know if we'll see that sub-3 ERA like you should from an ace or a Cy Young candidate throughout his entire career. The last 2 years certainly haven't been a good indication of that. So we got that to talk about. I also appreciate the people talking about they appreciated my Kobayashi reference. One of my favorite comments from after the show yesterday was, oh, wow, I haven't heard Kobayashi's name in a long time. And I'm like, hey, no stone left unturned. Let's start it off with the 76ers before we get into Jeffrey Lurie's comments yesterday, as well as Nick Sirianni and all that fun stuff. Got a lot to get to you today. No guest today, so we're going to do a Rothman Orthopedics locker room report coming up in a little bit. But we're going to start it out right now with the 76ers. I told you guys a while ago, I'm out on Doc Rivers. I feel like, and as I was saying yesterday, it's never his fault. And even yesterday, he was talking about, after the game in his post-game press conference, about how Joel Embiid was out of the game and how they had Paul Millsap as their backup center and they wanted to have a guard on Giannis at the end of the third quarter. They didn't get that. That was the plan, but they didn't execute the plan. So again, it's another variation of Doc Rivers saying, it's not my fault. It's not what I'm doing. It's what they're doing on the floor. And folks, I was like this a lot for Brett Brown. I was like this in the beginning with Doc Rivers. For me, it's all about the players. 9 times out of 10, I'm always talking about the players, what the players need to do, how the players need to perform, players need to hit shots, players need to execute, all that stuff. But with Doc Rivers, it has gotten to a point for me where you see the rotation killing this team. You talk about minutes, and we'll hear from Joel Embiid talk about his minutes in last night's game. He played 39 minutes. Giannis Antetokounmpo played 38 minutes. The bigger issue for me wasn't maybe that Joel Embiid needed to play more. It was that you needed to match up his minutes with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Because, newsflash, Paul Millsap all of a sudden is not going to D up Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's not happening. It wasn't going to happen last night. It wasn't going to happen at any other point. Okay, maybe 2014 Paul Millsap has got a shot. Maybe. But probably not. So Joel Embiid comes out after the game and in his post-game press conference talks about what he would have liked to have seen. Now, just for reference, just so you know what we're talking about here, Joel Embiid left the game at the 2:22 mark in the third quarter. He was taken out of the third quarter and put on the bench. At that time, the Sixers were up 10 points. When Joel Embiid entered back into the game, which was about the 9:30 mark of the fourth quarter, the Sixers were only up 2 points. So that lead had been cut down significantly, and Giannis was out there absolutely dominating in that time. Joel Embiid was asked about it after the game when he was asked about matching up minutes, and he was also asked about the end of the game. Like, what was the turning point in the game, basically? And then he was also asked about that final play, which I'll get into in just one second. But here's Joe after the game.
What do you think went wrong in the fourth quarter there?
Well, the game really changed. When I went on the bench, I didn't think we did at the end of that third quarter and beginning of the fourth. Their best player scored like, 17 or whatever that was. I didn't think we didn't do what we had to do, and they made that run and they cut the lead. And then they gained some momentum and carried over.
On your shot, when Giannis blocked it, did you think it was a goaltend? Did you some sort of
I thought it was close. Probably should have gone up harder, but in that situation, I was just I didn't know how much time was left. So I was just trying to, get the ball off for a quick layup. I thought it was close. I didn't know if it was a goaltend or not.
It was not a goaltend as replay reviewed, but the first part of that, there's two parts to that cut. The first one is Joel Embiid talking about the minutes. And I immediately reverted back to when Joel Embiid talked about Ben Simmons and the pass to Thibault in Game 7 against the Hawks. The turning point of the game. The turning point of the game in this case, as pointed out by Joel Embiid, was when he was on the bench. And who put him on the bench? Doc Rivers. Now, right there, you're thinking, okay, it's not necessarily calling out his head coach. That's not pointing at the head coach saying, what the hell are you doing taking me out of this game against one of the last teams we're going to face is actually a title contender this season. Excuse me. The last team you're going to face is a national title contender to repeat as champions of the NBA. This is the last game that really meant something to the Sixers. The last game that really meant something to the Sixers. And you don't have Joel Embiid in the game, matching minutes with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, you could say, he's not really calling out his coach. He's got to sit on the bench at some point. He's still logged almost 40 minutes of the 48 against the defending champions. So, bark up another tree. But wait, there's more. Joel Embiid asked again about what he would have liked to see done different by his team as the game went on. This is my friend of the show, Kyle Neubeck, asking him the questions. Here's where Joe just comes out and says simply, we needed to match minutes.
Is there anything specific you thought you guys could have done to slow down Giannis? Because obviously he was the reason they got back in the game.
Yeah, I was on the bench the whole time when I was on the floor. I really made sure that I was always there to help. And, I thought, we didn't follow up that strategy. We didn't build a wall. And you had a lot of free lane to just attack and get whatever he wanted. And that changed the game. Maybe next time, just match up the minutes.
I'm not saying that Joel Embiid is coming out and saying, oh yeah, fire Doc, like that needs to happen. But the wheels are in motion, folks. The wheels have started to go in motion. Yesterday, losing this game the way they did, Doc Rivers and this team allowing the run that they allowed Giannis Antetokounmpo and Brook Lopez go on yesterday. Good God. This is the start of that conversation for real. Not just people being pissed off generally about the rotations. This is now where I believe Doc Rivers needs, at the very least, an Eastern Conference Finals appearance to save his job for next year. After hearing these comments from Joel Embiid, it only makes me think this is just the beginning of the snowball going down the hill. Listening to Joel Embiid talk about how his minutes need to be matched up, which should, by the way, be obvious. I mean, tell me right now who else is going to match up on this team with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, tell me who's going to match up. Paul Millsap? Paul Reed? Not so much. And Doc Rivers, one of the things he did say was he didn't go with DeAndre Jordan last night. He didn't go with Paul Reed last night, mainly because he thought that they go small a lot and often, so he didn't want to switch it up in that regard. Also, he didn't want Paul Reed to be out there after Giannis had kind of beaten him up when they had played against each other the last matchup they had in Milwaukee right before the All-Star break, shortly thereafter shortly before James Harden was acquired for the Sixers. So for me, you're watching all this play out yesterday, and the first time I heard Joel Embiid reference the turning point of the game, Immediately, my mind went to, when was the last time Joel Embiid pointed out somebody being the turning point of the game? Somebody else's mistake being the turning point of the game? That was Ben Simmons. He's not here anymore. Later in the same press conference, Joel Embiid comes out and says, maybe we should match minutes. Well, whose fault would that be? That would be the head coach. Now, as somebody, so bottom line to it, I believe the wheels are in motion for Doc Rivers for this to be his final season with the 76ers, barring an NBA Eastern Conference Finals appearance. Now, as someone that 9 times out of 10 looks at the players saying, why don't you do more? And one of the things Doc Rivers also said after the game was, they made shots, we missed shots. And it's like, I thank you for that breakdown. I appreciate that. But one of the things that I'll look at the players for, as I usually do, is what happened at the end of that game. Joel Embiid right now has just been taken over, been passed by Joker again, by Nikola Jokic for MVP of the league. It now looks like Joker is going to win back-to-back MVP awards, despite Joel Embiid's dominance in the league. Last night, you can't go up against a two-time MVP. You can't go up against the reigning NBA champion. Allow a run that the Sixers allowed last night. And then when you have 2 separate opportunities to either put your team in front or tie the basketball game, you fail in those opportunities. With about 15 seconds left, Joel Embiid got the ball on the wing, dribbled down a little bit, had a turnaround jump shot, missed it. He would have put the Sixers up 1 in that instance, and it would have been about 13 or 14 seconds left on the clock. Then, in the final possession, Doc Rivers draws up a play that gives James Harden the ball around the top of the key. James Harden gets a great matchup. He's got Lopez on him, step back, misses the 3. At the time he releases that 3, Joel Embiid is on the wing, just for record, wide open on the wing. He then crashes the boards to get the rebound, gets hit by, I think it was Middleton he got hit by, and then got blocked by Giannis Antetokounmpo from behind. It looked like a play that could have been a goaltend. I thought it was a goaltend. After replay, it definitely was not a goaltend. But I'm thinking Joel Embiid needs to get that rebound and jam it home. And then the Sixers are tied in this situation, and you either can get a shutdown defensive possession, go to overtime, and I like the Sixers' odds at home for extra 5 minutes of play. That didn't happen. Doc Rivers called the number of James Harden, who scored 32 points, a high for his time with the Sixers. He was great last night. He was very aggressive. That's the James Harden I want to see for the rest of the season and into the playoffs. But he gets a great look, misses the shot. Joel Embiid hustles his ass off, gets down for the rebound, gets the ball in his hand with about 3 seconds left. There's time for a dribble, a gather, and a slam dunk. I heard Mark Jackson, and I think Coach also said it on postgame, as a player or a coach, when that moment's happening, you feel like that's 1 second, no matter what. If you're crashing the boards at 5 seconds, you get the ball in your hand, you're thinking, oh, I got to get this off as soon as possible. And that's why Joel Embiid just acted like he had a grenade in his hand and got rid of it, and it ended up getting blocked. What should he have done? Well, exactly what Joel Embiid said he should have done after the game. He said, I should have been able to go up harder and jam it down. He didn't do that. That's what should have happened. He does that. I have no doubt in my mind the Sixers are able to make it into overtime against the Bucks last night, and you feel a lot better about the situation today as opposed to losing to another title contending team. You feel a lot better about them at least going to overtime with a chance to win. But in that situation, I wanted to see something from Joel Embiid that we really don't see a lot of, which is explosiveness. Like, he doesn't have, like, even a guy like DeAndre Jordan can explode to the rim. And this is the one thing I have knocked Joel Embiid for throughout his career. The explosion. Everything else I love. Oh, my God. I never wanted to trade him. I always wanted the Sixers to give him a long-term contract. I have never been anti-Joel Embiid. I'm still not anti-Joel Embiid. If there's one thing you can nitpick on with Joel Embiid, it's overall explosiveness. And that was a situation where it should have been rebound, gather, jam, tie ball game. In that, is it hard to know how much time's left of the clock in that scenario? Absolutely. Trying to be an MVP is hard. And I love the people after the game that are, oh, he couldn't do that, he couldn't do this. Oh, what are you telling me? It's hard? Yeah, yes, it shouldn't be that hard, though, for a guy that should be MVP of the league. It shouldn't be that hard for your team's best player. And on top of this, to look away again from Joel Embiid for a second, Doc Rivers, who's your best player? Is it James Harden or is it Joel Embiid? I think it's Joel Embiid. Again, MVP of the league. He's at least been MVP caliber the last 2 seasons at the very least. How is the ball with that much time left on the clock not in his hands? I would give the ball to James Harden if there was only 5 seconds left and he had to create something. I would absolutely give it to James Harden. But when you got, 12 seconds left and you're inbounding the ball, how is that not in Joel Embiid's hands? Allow him the opportunity to either make the basket, create for himself, find somebody else if there's nothing there for him, or get fouled, go to the line. We've seen it before. Give him that opportunity. I know that the MO throughout the entire NBA is that centers can't close games. If you have Joel Embiid as your center, he can close a game for you. I don't know if they lost. I don't know if Doc just didn't want to go to him because he had already missed that turnaround jump shot with about 16 seconds left in the game. I don't know if that was the reason, but they got exactly what they wanted after that. They got Giannis the ball. Giannis got fouled. Giannis went to the line, missed them both. Sixers still had the opportunity to make something happen. Made 1 out of 2. Sixers still had an opportunity to make something happen down the other end, and it didn't happen. Now, the other kick in the ass in all of this in the Bucks game last night was that if the goaltending wasn't called, the ball goes out of bounds. Sixers get it under their own basket again. Or excuse me, on the side, I believe they would have gotten it at their own basket as opposed to 1 second left on the clock and then a jump ball. Would have been another opportunity for that's an opportunity where you get James Harden the ball at the top of the key and see what he can do. Not where you have all that time left on the clock. So it was definitely a rough game for the Sixers last night, blowing that lead. A lot of it had to do with Doc Rivers' rotations. A lot of it had to do with not being able to make those clutch shots at the end of the game. That's why I always look at shots and what the team's doing on the floor more so than I'll look at what the coach is doing. But when you have the minutes that didn't match up the way they should have last night, that was so unbelievably obvious, that's where you got to look at it and say, well, Doc, what the hell are you doing here? And when you hear Joel Embiid come out the way he did after the game, talking about Doc Rivers, saying, why didn't we match minutes, basically, that's where you start to think the wheels are a little bit in motion here that Doc might not be back next year. Conference finals appearance or bust as far as Doc Rivers' future as the head coach of the 76ers goes. That's where I think we're at right now with this team. Sixers, by the way, in case you haven't seen the rest of their schedule yet, I'll put that up for you right now. This is what I was talking about when I talked about title contenders for the rest of the season. All right, so you got Cleveland, you got Indiana, and you got Toronto on here. This is this is not going to be that bad. These games against teams like the Nets, against teams obviously like the Heat, who they took care of business against without their 2-star players, which was nice, and teams like the Bucks last night. These are games that you're supposed to win, or at least make yourself feel a little bit better. One thing Doc did say after the game that I agreed with was his confidence didn't take a hit from these games. I don't expect any head coach in a regular season game to go running for the hills because you lost to some of the top tier teams. I don't expect that. I expect to have a learning experience and come back swinging in case you do match up with these teams in the postseason, which could very well happen. But the way Doc put it last night, I thought was interesting. This is the one thing I agree with. He's not going home with any silver. There's no silver lining. Oh, well, we put up a fight against the Suns. Aren't we great? Like, good. You should not have that opportunity. Thank you, Doc. I appreciate that, and I agree with that. Last night after you contend with the Bucks, well, you blew another lead just like you did against the Suns late in the game. You're not going to take home a silver lining saying to yourself, oh, at least we were right there and we were competing with these guys. So thank you. We at least agree on that, Doc. So that's what Doc Rivers got into that's what Doc and Joel Embiid got into after the game. James Harden talked about a conversation he had with Doc Rivers about being more aggressive. It seemed like James Harden was a lot more aggressive throughout this game. The numbers and the box score would certainly dictate that as well. You're watching the game. You saw him attempt more shots from the top of the key, take more threes, hit more threes, drive the paint more. Like, he seemed like he was more of the older school James Harden that we have seen even before when he was with the Nets, when he was with the Rockets, obviously. You saw a lot more of that style of play, which was great. That's what I love. I did hear this one number, and I wonder if this number isn't starting to circulate in the NBA, or not even in the NBA, but with the Sixers more specifically, where James Harden went from, and I know the conversation's been there, and it's not a shock, about how the first step isn't as quick as it's been in the past for James Harden. And first thought to that is, well, no kidding. You're talking about a 32-year-old guy and comparing what he did when he was 27. I think Wendy brought this point up on NBA Today the other day, where he talked about how James Harden's blow-by rate has dropped from elite, where it was like 81% of being able to beat a guy off the dribble from the top of the key to try, or from the perimeter, try to get to the lane. It's gone from like 81% to like 50%. So elite to not at all elite. Elite to common is basically what it's come down to for James Harden. If he can start hitting that outside shot with more consistency, just like we say with about anybody that's struggling from the outside, you start hitting that shot, guys will start to respect it a lot more, and they'll start to D you up a little bit closer, as opposed to giving you that window, giving you that space. Yeah, go ahead, hit that. They come up, they suck in that defense a little bit, their position defensively, you're able to get by them a little bit easier. If he's able to hit that outside shot with more consistency like he did last night, then you can start to see those defenders start to get suctioned in, vacuumed in towards James Harden. That blow-by rate might go up just a little bit more than it has been most recently. See you guys already with your awesome takes so far in the chat. We will get to all that and more. As I said in the open, I never thought we would, see the Phillies get over the luxury tax in my lifetime, and that's happened. And I never thought I'd see the Eagles get back to Kelly Green, at least not in the Lurie-owned era of the Eagles. And from what Jeffrey Lurie had to say yesterday, it looks like there's not going to be an end to the Lurie era, quote unquote, anytime soon, as it appears that Jeff Lurie's son is going to be ready to take the reins as the future owner and CEO of the Philadelphia Eagles whenever Jeffrey Lurie decides he's had enough. There was a lot that went on yesterday, but one of the things that Jeffrey Lurie did say was that in the 2023 season, the Eagles are going to have as their alternate jersey the very famous Kelly Green jersey. And I could not be more excited about that. This has been something that, if you haven't been following it, it's been something that I feel the Eagles have danced around for quite some time. And enough people, and Jason will hate that I say this, but he said it publicly, and it's out there, and we've talked about it publicly together. Jason Devon flat out told me the Luries hate Kelly Green. Now, I don't know if it's the reasoning behind it or not, but the Luries weren't a part of the Kelly Green era. The Kelly Green era got associated with a lot of losing, unfortunately, and the Eagles just wanted to separate themselves from that and have their own midnight green. They ended up winning the Super Bowl in midnight green, and here we are still giving a damn about the Kelly Green uniform. Couple of things. Large Irish population in Philadelphia. I'm sure the Irish would love to have that Kelly Green on their football team. The other part of it is that it just makes you feel young again. It makes you feel like a kid. I've said many times that the Reggie White 92 Kelly Green jersey is one of the all-time greatest jerseys in the history of sport. Randall is up there as well, with seeing that jersey, having the memories, and thinking, oh, how great was that, right? Also, let's not forget, which I know a lot of people have because they weren't alive yet, but the Eagles won 3 NFL championships in that Kelly Green jersey, 48, 49, and 60. Yeah, so you had some success in that Kelly Green as well. Granted, it was a million years ago. But still, we all like looking back on those old photos of Chuck Bednarik. We all like looking back on those photos, from the 80s and the gangrene defense and all that stuff. We love that. The ultimate weapon of Randall Cunningham. We love looking back on that. So now it looks like we're going to get that opportunity again. Here's Jalen Hurts in a mock-up there by Gridiron. And then here is Devontae Smith in another mock-up. And just tell me this doesn't get you excited to see it finally. The holdup for all of this apparently was a jersey matching a helmet. I have always thought that's BS. The black jerseys have the green trim, and the green trim around the neck doesn't match the helmet. So I always thought that was a weird excuse from Jeffrey Lurie, but apparently that's league rules. Jeffrey Lurie finally getting back to this, I think, is a great thing because it's what a lot of people in the city have really wanted. When the Eagles did, for what was it, their 50th anniversary, when they did bring back the Kelly Green jersey and you saw Kevin Cobb in the jersey, later Michael Vick in that same game, Deshaun Jackson, LaShawn McCoy, Brent Selleck, Stuart Bradley, the linebacker, when you saw, they looked awesome. I couldn't believe that it took them so long to even get to that point. And now, finally, years later, 12 years later, you're finally going to get back to a point where you can watch those jerseys again. I love it. I'm here for it. Can't wait to see him actually play in that jersey. I'm shocked that it took so long because the Luries apparently have always been against the Kelly Green, and now it's finally upon us again, well, at least a year. So big win for Eagles fans yesterday because I know still a lot of people, myself included, care about that Kelly Green. The other thing that was a big win for the Eagles yesterday was this rule change that they've suggested for the playoffs. The Eagles, I think, were one of two teams that suggested this for the playoffs. Both teams, how novel, both teams get a possession in the playoffs. What? So you get into the overtime, and you can't have the walk-off touchdown where the other team doesn't get the possession anymore. Thank you. Finally, some common sense. If both teams score, then it goes to sudden death. If the team that kicked off gets a safety, this is what I love. They thought this far ahead, which I guess you had to. If the team that kicks off gets a safety, it's a walk-off safety. Both teams have to have a possession, a chance to score. So basically, if the offense receives the ball and then they don't score first, the game's over. I like that too because they still had a possession and the other team scored. So I still like that as well. Well, kudos to the Eagles for proposing this as being one of the teams that proposed it, and kudos to them for actually having this ring true because I think it's a good suggestion. I think it's a good idea as well. Let's get into some Nick Sirianni conversation as well before we get into our chat check today. Nick Sirianni and what's his face? Jeffrey Lurie had ringing endorsements when it came to Jalen Hurts and what Jalen Hurts could do for this club going forward. Both referenced his ability to get better at the college level. Both referenced his ability to put in the work, his great work ethic, his great attitude, and all that. That's fine. I have been along this line for forever. Give Jalen Hurts this other year, see how he does, flip a pick to next year, which I still think the Eagles will do, and then see how it is after this year. Reevaluate after this year. The fact that you're talking about how you're still building to being a contender again lets me think that the Eagles will give Jalen Hurts that other year. Still, though, right now I'm like 60-40. The Eagles will not take a quarterback in the draft. 60% Jalen Hurts will return. 40% they're going to go with somebody else as a quarterback for next year, being at somebody that they're going to draft in this upcoming draft. So I'm 60% sure Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback next year. 40% sure they draft a quarterback in the upcoming draft with one of their 3 first-round picks. That's where I'm at right now. Nick Sirianni talked about the work ethic of Jalen Hurts yesterday, and Tom House. For those that don't know, Tom House is who he's talking about here. But Jalen Hurts is apparently in Southern California. I'll let our man Nick Sirianni tell you about what Jalen Hurts is up to this offseason.
He's working with different people, and I'm not going to put his business out there as far, but he's working with some people down in Southern California to throw. I let you guys kind of do the digging there to find out more with that. But he's this guy. Again, I go back to the type of guys that maximize their football potential, and what are the common denominators of those guys? They have high character, they have high football IQ, they love football, they're tough, and they're competitive. Jalen is all of those things, and so Jalen is working on trying to get, every angle he can to get better. And so whether that's working with a quarterback guy or studying film, different ways of doing that, he's doing everything he can do to get better.
That's all you can ask for. That's all you can ask for from a young quarterback is just continue to get better. The fact that he's working with Tom House, Tom Brady's guy, only a great sign. And this is what I've always been saying about Jalen Hurts. It's hard to bet against a guy with a great work ethic. It's really hard to bet against a guy that has a little bit of talent and a great work ethic because, he's only going to get more talented. And the fact that he is putting in this work in the offseason is great. The fact that he's having open communication with the Eagles is also great. So everyone knows that they're on the same page. That's great. It's all great. The other part about this is just overall what they say about Jalen Hurts, regardless of the reports that do come out about the Eagles being interested in another quarterback or whether or not they were offering a trade for Russell Wilson. Nick Sirianni got into the idea that they've always been in on Jalen Hurts, and they're excited to work with him yet again.
Well, I couldn't be more excited about Jalen Hurts and, the type of player he is, the type of person he is. I know he's going to continue to develop. because of who he is. And so I couldn't be more excited to work with him, and I know he knows that. I know that he's excited to work with us and to build on the good year that he had last year. And so he knows he's our guy, and we show him that with our actions day in, day out.
All right, just go out there and prove it. We'll keep our fingers crossed for all that. Before I get out of the football things here, there's two more little drops I gotta throw your way. One is about your boy Derek Barnett. The other is about Jeff Lurie, and as I like to say, the meddling owner. The owner that wants to get involved in everyday operations, get involved in the draft, because they talked about that at length yesterday during Jeffrey Lurie's 40-minute press conference. First, let's have some fun. As we're on the Nick Sirianni train right now, Nick Sirianni was asked about Fletcher Cox, and he was asked about Derek Barnett. He was asked about the defensive line, and Fletcher Cox still has the ability to throw bodies around. He still has the ability to put pressure on the quarterback, stop the run. Fletcher Cox is great. Everything Fletcher Cox does is great, according to Nick Sirianni. How about Nick Sirianni on the 2-year, $14 million deal by your boy Derek Barnett? Here is Nick Sirianni on bringing back Derek Barnett.
Derek Barnett is everything that embodies what we want in the characteristics of a player. He's tough. He's competitive. He's got high football IQ.
I'm sorry, what was that? Was that high football IQ? Was that Derek Barnett? Derek Barnett? The it's always him guy? Oh, it's always him. It's always him. High football IQ. Bold, dare I say, hot take from the Eagles head coach. No defensive end had more penalties in the NFL last year than Derek Barnett. And you want to talk to me about a high football IQ? You know what, Nick? I'm sorry I interrupted. Proceed.
Derek Barnett is everything that embodies what we want in the characteristics of a player. He's tough. He's competitive. He's got high football IQ. He's got high character. He loves football. I love Derek Barnett. All right, I love the type of player and the type of person that he is.
I'm sure Derek Barnett is a lovely human being. Yeah, I've interviewed him a couple times. Well, part of the group, press conference, whatever. Swell fella. I'm going to steal a line that I think is one of the best lines ever, or at least the way it was put in Philadelphia, and it's by the fired Alain Vigneault. I like Derek the person. I need more from Derek the football player. There, I'll bastardize it for the sake of football. That's what I'd like. This is a Howie Roseman's not wrong deal. This was our first round draft pick deal. This is a we got to save face deal. There is nothing Derek Barnett has done since the Super Bowl where he fell on a ball that was forced out by Brandon Graham. There's nothing Derek Barnett has done that makes you go, definitely needs to come back. It's a depth move overall. I do think the Eagles are going to bolster the defensive line in this draft. But this deal, make no mistake about it, the number one reason it's happening is because he was the Eagles' first-round pick. But that's it. And by the way, any opportunity I get to do a spit take, I'm welcoming that, ladies and gentlemen. One last thing. I knew you guys would enjoy the Derek Barnett piece there. It's him. It's always him. But he loves ball. He loves ball. Derek Barnett loves ball. Jeffrey Lurie yesterday, during his press conference, was also asked about more or less meddling in front office stuff. And I've told you before, if I was Jeffrey Lurie, and I own the team for, 25 plus years, whatever, if I was him, I would be all up in that when it comes to front office decisions. If I've been around watching practice, now going to Senior Bowls, talking to Andy Reid, picking the minds of NFL professionals, think about this for a second. There's a lot of media members that will ridicule and throw all the criticism in the world of Jeffrey Lurie. He's been in it more than media members have been in it. And think about how well media, I always tell you before I'm criticizing a head coach, hey, if you're looking to hire a football coach tomorrow, hire Nick Sirianni before you hire me. However, I'm also here to keep it real and say maybe Nick running the ball twice with a running back in the first half against Dallas Cowboys is stupid. Maybe commit a little bit more to the run. And then what ended up happening, they commit a little bit more to the run, and then all of a sudden, they started going points. So, yeah, every once in a while, someone like me, the blind squirrel, finds the nut when it's easy. All right? Like that. Maybe run the football. But in the overall grand scheme of things, if you're starting a football team tomorrow, I would suggest hiring Sirianni before you hire me. I'm told we look alike, but he's got hair, and he's probably like 20 pounds lighter than I am. Not that I've, examined. But anyway, that's where I'm at. If I'm Jeffrey Lurie and I've been around these head coaches, I've been around these scouts, I've been around these great football minds, I'm going to think that I know a thing or two about football. So him, and by the way, he's the owner. So, yeah, he's going to have opportunities where he's going to weigh in. I wish that an owner wouldn't. Let me get that clear. I wish it wouldn't happen, but I'm just saying I understand why it does happen. So Jeffrey Lurie got asked about his involvement with some particular deals, whether that be drafting Jordan Mailata, whether that be pushing back on hiring or forcing out guys like Mike Rowe or Carson Walsh. Well, I'll let it be explained right here because I think it's Tim McManus of ESPN that asked the question of Jeffrey Lurie and how he has meddled in front office operations. And here's how Jeffrey Lurie decided to deal with that.
I probably have backed off. Not that I was super involved ever, but I think I get excited. I'm a football fan. I love the possibilities of players, and it's always to support those that are excited about players in the draft. It's never my valuation. I don't do the work. Come on.
Jeffrey, let me challenge that just a little bit because the three instances that you referenced are very positive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's plenty of other reporting.
Reporting. Yeah.
Well, reporting does come from somewhere and a lot of hard work from a lot of people.
Right.
Mike Rowe and Carson Walsh pushing back on Doug Peterson and Nose, pushing back on the idea of Press Taylor and ultimately firing.
Are you talking about coaches?
Yeah, as a result of that, in the draft, Jalen Hurts, there were plenty of reporting that you were a champion of his. So are you saying that just 3 times that there wasn't any ones?
Those are the ones that I look back and say, did I overstep in any way? And I didn't really overstep in those.
I would be more shocked than I am the Phillies going over to luxury tax or the Eagles bringing back Kelly Green jerseys. I would be more shocked if Jeffrey Lurie ever said, perhaps I overstepped. Just perhaps I overstepped a little bit. I don't know why I give Jeffrey Lurie a Great Lakes accent, but I do. Yeah, I overstepped, you guys. I'm sorry. Miss Guzzi, my bad. I'll let you guys do your thing. I'm only the owner over the most successful stretch of the Super Bowl era. I'm only the owner of the team, but I overstepped. I'm so sorry. Not going to happen. But did you catch the little dismissive reporting? Like, for instance, I find it hilarious. Like, I literally laugh out loud. I literally LOL whenever I hear an athlete, coach, front office member, owner say something to the effect of, "Oh yeah, well, you guys are writing these sources, crediting these sources," as if the media members are making them up. Hate to burst the bubble from the people there in really professional sports in general, not just the NovaCare complex. But as Tim McManus said, the reporting is done through hard work, relationships, and getting information from reliable sources. You do hit on a couple of them, if not most of them. They're not just making this stuff out of thin air. Are there people that just throw stuff against the wall and see if it sticks? Yes, there are. But a lot of times, hate to break it to people, a lot of journalists have integrity. They have journalistic integrity. They're not just making something up. They're getting it from a reliable source. I know of situations where the Eagles have pulled people aside themselves and said, here's a situation with this. We want this out there. Boom, here it is. Yeah, they get it from good sources. The source, as a matter of fact. And Jeffrey Lurie wants to act like the reporters are just making stuff up. No, unfortunately, you guys don't have a tight lid on the NovaCare complex as you wish. And people talk. People always talk. You know why? Because they also want their side of the story out there. Oh, and also there's cameras. Like there's cameras of like a guy like Tom Donahoe, no, not fist bumping over a certain selection that he didn't want in the NFL draft. Like there are things that are out there that give us the inside scoop even before people start talking. But I love the idea of Jeffrey Lurie saying, well, yeah, you guys reporting. And then my Lurie is also morphing into my Howie, which is awful. But then Tim McManus comes out and just says, yeah, that reporting is done. Yeah, reporting. Let's take a sip of water. Yeah, I thought that was BS. But anyway, before I get to the chat check, let me tell you guys about the great people at Destination Retirement, specifically my man, Mike Seibert. Retirement income certified professional. Is a financial advisor for Eagles and Sixers fans only. His firm, Destination Retirement LLC, is a full-service planning firm and a partner of 1847 Financial. Mike helps clients with their accumulation years as well as their distribution years. What's the difference? A lot. Have you figured out how much you'll need per month when you retire? How much your retirement income would you like guaranteed no matter what? Do you have a plan in place to protect your assets from downside market risk? Do you have a written plan? If you have questions, if you need answers, if you have assets of $250,000 or more, Mike will create a written plan to help you offset your retirement and the expenses free of charge using software from Retirement Analyzer. He usually charges just under $2,000 for this, folks, so act now. Go to destinationretirement.com. Call Mike at 484-275-6035. That's 484-275-6035. Your plan will show you how to offset retirement expenses, what to do in a volatile market, and helps minimize taxes as well. With over 30 years of experience, Mike is committed to helping Eagles and Sixers fans get to and through retirement. So check him out at destinationretirement.com, or like I said, call Mike at 484-275-6035. That's 484-275-6035. Or visit them at destinationretirement.com and click on Find Out at the top of the page and fill out the questionnaire to see how prepared you are for retirement and to sign up for his newsletter. He'll get back to you and let you know how he can help. As always, go Birds and play the song. How about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers? Trust the man that has been in the love business for over 40 years in Philadelphia, the other corner of 8th and Walnut at IHateStevenSinger.com. Check out my friend Steven Singer and always get the perfect price. A lot of times you walk into a jeweler, you're going to feel like, oh, I got to negotiate, I got to haggle, I got to make sure I don't get taken advantage of. Well, how about walking into a jeweler where all you got to worry about is what kind of diamond you want to buy? And that's not even a worry, considering you to get walked through everything by a real jewelry expert to make you not only get the perfect price, but also make the perfect purchase at Steven Singer Jewelers. So do what I do. Head down to the other corner of 8th and Walnut or go to IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com to get that perfect price. And also check out all the beautiful, dazzling, sparkling inventory at Steven Singer Jewelers. Diamond necklaces, diamond tennis bracelets, diamond stud earrings, and of course, diamond engagement rings at IHateStevenSinger.com. And if you are looking to get engaged, you want to make the decision as easy as possible for yourself as to what type of diamond you want to buy, they have Ready for Love diamond engagement rings standing by at the ready. So you can drop down to one knee and propose to that special someone in your life. All to the man that's been in the love business for over 40 years in Philadelphia, Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price every single day. IHateStevenSinger.com. We did give you a locker room report from the 76ers after their loss to the Milwaukee Bucks last night. That locker room report was brought to you by Rothman Orthopedics. If you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. The official orthopedic provider for the Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. That's RothmanOrtho.com. How about the great people of WinView? WinView is the only game where fans can take on other fans and end the debate once and for all. Who is the biggest sports fan? You have those friends and family members who think they know everything about sports? Download the WinView app on your phone. Challenge them to a WinView contest and see if they can walk the walk as well as they talk the talk. WinView, ladies and gentlemen, not a sports book. Not daily fantasy. It's a social gaming app where fans could win real money prizes for making predictions on the games that they love. So download the WinView app right now and have yourself a good time. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. Now it's time for the chat check, everybody. Good morning. Kevin, how are you? Mally, Sean, what's popping? Hope everybody's doing well. EM EM, welcome aboard. Nice to have you. April, what's going on? EM, let's go, Farzy. Great start to a Wednesday. Great start to a hump day, EM. You're right. I got to get a oil change today, so it's a big adulting day for me. Plus, I also really want to put in a lot of work on that coffee station I told you guys I was building with that 100-year-old pine. I pulled out of the demo in my house that I was doing because I was doing manly stuff. Man stuff. What do they say on the old social media app? Hot guy stuff. Is that what I was doing? So I want to work on that thing. I got an oil change. A lot of adulting. Oh, and raise some kids. So that's what I'll do today. Al, what's up, Al? Joskell, what's going on? I always love when you guys say hi and good morning to each other. It makes us feel like we're all partying. We're all one. Mally, Duck Rivers, gotta go. The wheels are in motion. Joel Embiid coming out yesterday saying that he needed to match minutes. Maybe he shouldn't be on the bench when Giannis is on the floor. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, Joe. I agree with that. On the same note, yes, Joel Embiid, go up stronger and dunk that ball at the end of it. Like you said, you should have. There was time for you to do it. Bottom line is there was time for him to do it. Is it rushed? Does it feel rushed? Absolutely. More presence of mind. Oh, he's getting hit. And this other stuff. It's hard. Oh, yeah, it's hard to be an MVP. It's hard. Basketball's hard. Thank you for that breaking news. But yeah, Doc, maybe match up those minutes a little bit more and you don't have to worry about those final 2 possessions for the Sixers. Let's see what else we have here. Jack, what's up, Jack? Good morning to you. Dan Schwartz, good morning. Fire Duck Rivers. I like that it is definitely Duck now. What am I missing? Dan, you're at the bottom of no list for me, my friend. Dan Schwartz. James, good morning. EM says, I don't put this one on Doc. In the late third quarter and early fourth, they were continuously putting up bricks from 3. Yeah, they were. And that's why I usually look at players. But the fact that the Bucks went on that run and they didn't sub Joel Embiid back in to match up with Giannis is a problem. By the way, one more clip I want to throw for you guys, or play for you guys from Giannis last night. Pretty insane. Nola turned into Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn, the part 2 version. Ooh, Mally, that is a phenomenal reference. Why is everyone having a problem with me improving myself? That's what I remember. You know what would piss me off about that movie? It was filmed in Baltimore, not Cleveland. Major League 2. Which I think is a fine sequel. As sequels go, I thought it was a fine sequel. Greg Maddock, Nutsville. I would have said it's a good way to describe the Sixers, Nutsville. Doc Rivers' long history of excuses and thinking he compares to Pop. I mean, Sean, that is like, we've heard a lot of arrogant statements from our head coaches over the years. Andy Reid was the king of it. Chip Kelly wasn't any better, probably more arrogant than anything. But as I said yesterday, I'd kill for just one. I got to do a better job from Doc Rivers. I'd kill for just one. That's it. Well, I'll tell you what, I just got to do a better job. I got to do a better job matching up minutes. What? Doc? Humility? No way. Just saying is all. Jack, what's going on? Ducking up. I love it. Jack, as far as they want them opening day tickets, well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a lot of people in already. So make sure you guys continue to subscribe, comment on who your favorite player was as well. But you got to be following, you got to be subscribed to us on YouTube. You guys have to drop a comment and make sure you comment who your favorite all-time Philly was, and we're gonna pick a winner. And we're going to announce it next week. And that person that wins will go to Philly's opening day to see the likes of Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber and the reigning NL MVP and our man Bryce Harper as well. So make sure you guys check that as well. April, phenomenal. Joel is tired of Duck for sure. Yeah. Dan Schwartz. God, I love Joel. God, I love Ricky Vaughn, Mally. Dan Schwartz. How do you not love him? How do you not? And you know what took me forever to realize? This is a pull. I realize this is a pull, but it took me forever to realize Major League 2 whatever the lady's name was, Nikki, I believe, like the sweet brunette, wholesome girl that everyone was hoping really made it happen with our man Ricky Vaughn, Charlie Sheen, and not the tall blonde lady that was like really pretty and stuff, but the brunette. I think her name was Nikki. She was the daughter in Coneheads, Dan Aykroyd Coneheads in the movie Coneheads. She dated Chris Farley in the movie. If you don't remember, this is information you don't need, but this is the information that sticks in my idiot brain. I'm sorry, but that's what. There you go. But yeah, what the hell made me say that? Oh, the Ricky Vaughn reference. Yeah, thank you. For those just joining the show, Family Guy brain is how I refer to it. Constant cutaways that really don't make any sense, but they're there. Joel is tired of Duck Rivers. April, you are correct. Mullets, what's up, Mullet? Bark up another tree. Haha, haven't heard that one in forever. Wait, did somebody reference barking up a tree? Did I reference barking up a tree? I probably did. Bring back Fred Carter as coach. Nice. You see Bobby Jones ring the bell last night? How great is that? Go fly a kite, Duck Rivers. Mullet, hilarious. Ray, what's up, Ray? The Sixers will not advance far in the playoffs because Doc Rivers, I'll call him Duck. I'll take the liberty. Duck Rivers cannot call an end of game play rotation and substitution last play, and Embiid gets the ball 20 feet away. Well, the other three guys stood on the other side of the court, 2-man game. If you're going to get Embiid the ball, he's got to get low or only down by a point, have him get fouled. Okay, Ray, I think you and I are on the same page here. The ball needs to be in the hands of Joel Embiid. I don't have as much of an issue, especially if there's time on the clock, for Joel Embiid to create his own shot. He's done it before. He's hit step-back threes before. He's been able to do that. If I'm Doc Rivers, I get the ball in the hands of not in James Harden, but in Joel Embiid's hands. When there was that much time left on the clock in what was their second to last possession, not including James Harden grabbing the tip ball after the jump ball situation, but in their last play that they drew up, I'll say it like that, that ball needs to be in the hands of Joel Embiid. The ball ended up in the hands of Joel Embiid because he crashed the boards. He put himself in the right place at the right time. He rushed it when he had more time. Is that hard? Absolutely. But when I've been banging the drum, like, here's what I don't like. And this is why I don't give anybody a pass for anything. Here's what I don't like. I can't be real with you guys. If all year I've been saying Joel Embiid needs to be an MVP, or really since December, Joel Embiid's been playing at an MVP level, he should be the MVP of the league. And then all of a sudden grade him on some curve and say that he shouldn't have a better presence of mind to know that he had time to gather and throw that ball down. If I'm saying he's an MVP, but telling you he can't understand how much time is left on the clock and to dunk a basketball, then am I really telling you he should be MVP? No, my bar is a lot higher for Joel Embiid because Joel Embiid put it that high because he's that damn good. He said after the game that's what he needed to do. That's what he should have done. He didn't realize how much time was left on the clock. Would it have been a bang-bang play? Absolutely would have been a bang-bang play. But as he's approaching the rim, he gets the rebound. He fights to put himself in the right spot. He gets hit. He's off balance. He's thinking, just get rid of it. You're not going to have time to gather. He did have time to gather. Dan Schwartz, Ray coming in hot as always. Ray, I always describe Ray, man. He's in the weeds. He's in the weeds. Oh, is that an injured antelope? Rah! Pounces. Wait. Mullet petition. Dumb rule should have been our ball. Oh, in terms of the tip ball. I was thinking about that, but if it's not a goaltend and they don't call it a goal, they called it out of bounds. Yeah, because the play was out of bounds. Like, it doesn't really affect much, right? Like, I guess it should just be a judgment call in terms of the Sixers getting the ball back. Dean Capes, what's up, Dean? Good morning. How do we get a petition started to get Glenn fired? Well, I think you can start a petition for anything nowadays. Alyssa, what's up, Alyssa? Good morning. Ray, he did say that after the game that he had Joel Embiid was on the bench. Joel Embiid said after the game that Doc Rivers had him on the bench as well as James Harden. They went on that run. Jim Grassmeter, what's up, buddy? Dan Schwartz, why are people saying DD is having a good spring when his batting average is 190? Is that considered good now? No, that's not considered good. Whoa, Dan. Look at you with all the good mornings. Good morning, Alyssa. Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Mally. Good morning, April. Good morning, Al. You're a kind man, Dan. Jim Grassmeter, is this another game where Doc can't be asked why the team lost another big lead? I don't know, man. Doc has this wild sense of entitlement, and I really respect Doc. I wanted Doc to be here. I thought it was the perfect guy to bring in after Brett Brown, a guy that wasn't established as a head coach, to then bring in a guy who's won a championship, who's coached in another championship, a guy who's made it to the playoffs so many times. I thought that, coming here, he would demand respect, and he absolutely has. But in terms of figuring out these rotations, I think he's left a lot to be desired. The Kelly Green is the greatest jersey ever. Mally, my man. Sean, Duck Rivers is a good coach, dealing most of the season shorthanded. Certainly deserves accolades for that. But in must-win moments, he falters constantly. Gave up 3 games, up 3 games numerous times. Yes, up 3 games numerous times. Yes, in the playoffs. Dan, would you ask Pop that question? That's one of the most arrogant things I've ever heard. April, I can't believe Lurie is letting the Kelly Green back. I still am in shock over it as well. Real quick, I want to tell this story earlier, but I'll tell this again. I don't think I've told this story on the show before. I remember I was at an event with Don Smolinski and Howie Roseman. And it was when I was at WIP, and it was like a sponsorship dinner. So it was like, or a luncheon rather. It was like all the big sponsors of the radio station get hosted by the WIP and the Eagles, and they do a Q&A. Glenn Macnow hosted it. It was off air. And one of the questions, they do a Q&A, at the end of the session, basically, at the end of the luncheon, before picture time with Howie and Don. And they have the conversation, they do the thing, and they have a Q&A. And one of the questions in the Q&A is, will we get Kelly Green jerseys back? To see Smolinski and Roseman look at each other like, who wants to answer this question, was like 10 times anything I saw them try to answer when they signed Michael Vick. Okay? They were like, I don't want to say the wrong thing because we know Jeffrey hates it, but we don't want to lose our jobs over Kelly Green jerseys. Like, I remember watching that thinking, for some reason, Kelly Green jerseys are a huge sticking point. Like, they're the pet peeve of the Eagles ownership. For whatever reason. It was like, oh, they didn't want to answer. Well, hopefully we'll bring it back one day, but we don't know, but maybe, but probably not, but kind of, hopefully, maybe. It's like, all right, guys, it's just a jersey. Back off, relax. But I couldn't be more happy that it's back. Joel Embiid, like the way they answered that question was like they were trying to defuse a bomb. It's like Howie and Don Smolinski put on the bomb diffusing suits and was like, all right, cut the blue wire or the red wire. One of those situations. Jim Grassmeter, Joel Embiid is gassed again. He's hanging out by 3-point line more and more. You definitely notice. You know what I heard Tim Legler say one time on ESPN was how he'll always hang out by the 3-point line, so he has less space to run back on. He's got less floor to run back on because he's closer to the defensive end. If he just hangs at the top of the key on the offensive end of the floor, he can just jog back to the defensive end of the floor. And it's like, wow, that is the epitome of laziness. Not that I think Joel Embiid's lazy by any means, but I think he's exhausted. But I was like, man, I wish I would have known that in my youth. It was such a short run. I should just hung out at the top of the key. Less ground to cover. Wow, EM, I have a Cobb Kelly Green jersey. It was a gift. Oof. For a second there, I thought you meant Gary Cobb, not Kevin Cobb. I'm shocked we haven't seen Nick come out of Innova gear yet. That would be pandering. Bobby Boucher, you're absolutely right. One day, Mama will see Nick Sirianni in Kelly Green uniform. In Villanova uniform. James Taylor, good morning, James Tyler, me scusi. Harden, blow-by rate 50%. Simmons, standby rate 100%. I read somebody's quote yesterday on Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has shown no improvement. They're referencing his back injury, but I was like, no, that about sums it up. Someone make that again. Oh, the spit take. Thank you, Bobby. Baba Boucher. Derek flags all over the field. Barnett. Farzy did the best. All right. All right, Bobby. Not reading that one, but I understand what you're saying, which is why I'm not reading it, you sick bastard. Has to be trolling? I don't think he's trolling. Football IQ has more penalties than sacks. Jim, thank you very much. Barnett has a high school football IQ in Europe, in European football, soccer. I get it. Alyssa, you can be a great person, but suck at your job. This is very true. Derek Barnett might be that guy. Farzy is on one today. Yes, I am. Wait, did Ray comment again? No, okay. Buddy, T-Mac. What's up, T-Mac? Tobin, what's up, Tobin? T-Bro, Coneheads, would you like some gum? That's funny. Okay, this will be the most ultimate Family Guy brain thing I've probably ever done on this show. But I'll tell you, this is an adorable story. T-Bro, do you want, would you like some gum? So apparently that line is the reason I exist. Now, what do I mean by that? My grandfather, who didn't speak English, I'm told, I didn't know him, but apparently one of the only things he knew how to say in English was, do you want some gum? And on the first date with my grandmother, that's all he said. And I guess my grandmother was just taken back by his romance. Do you want some gum? I think I'll marry this man and have 4 children, one of which will be Mark's dad. But yeah, so every time I see, do you want some gum? My mind immediately goes to, that's why I exist. Now looking back, and I was like, wow, did my grandmother have like halitosis? Did she have bad breath? Yeah, my on my dad's side, apparently he never learned English. It's about time. Larry, you're absolutely right. About time Joel Embiid said something about the coaching. Like I said, this is the wheels in motion now. This is the wheels in motion. Evan, good morning, Evan. Is that a Topanga reference from Boy Meets World? I'm here for it. I mean, she's no Callie Kapowski, but yeah, okay. Laughing out loud, though. I see. What? Now we're talking about PJ being into tattooed girls? What the hell's going on here? Real time. What's up, real time? Good morning. Kyle, good morning. Jim G. Does Doc ever tell his guys that it's okay to try to get an offensive rebound? I don't know. T-Mac, Zach, what's up, oh, Cheeseboro, what's up, Cheeseboro? Sleeping in, Cheeseboro. Dan Schwartz, I need a chat meetup minus creepy people. I'm not creepy, just weird and somewhat an annoyance, but not creepy. Dan, you're the best. John Cheeseboro, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Zach Hoying, what's up, Zach? Evan, real time, the cheese has curled. I repeat, the cheese is here. What the? Curdled, excuse me. April, chat meetup in Outer Banks. We should, yes, the whole chat, we should just get a house in the Outer Banks with one of them tiny little pools, but a huge house and a tiny little puddle for a pool. Evan, this is once again the Farzy Show with John. Oh, all are welcome. The chat check might be renamed to Farzy and Friends. Anyway, I was Farzy, your grandfather has game. Yeah, so I'm told. Grandma Farzy could have heard it wrong. All right. Wait, Zach, what am I reading? Hold on. I hate when you guys tell me I need to read a line and I miss a line. What? pots and pans. I read it. Didn't I read it? I thought I read it. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. This is once again the Farzy Show with John Cheeseborough. No one is this excited for Farzy. Sorry. Laugh out loud. Just kidding. Love you, Farzy. Real time Farzi's listener. What do we call Farzi's listeners? Farzi's, the Farzites, the farts, the Farzamania. What did our buddy Adam Lefko call us? What was it? Farzi's Army? Well, it might have been Farzian. Farzi's Army, maybe. I have to go back and look at the film. James Taylor is in Farzi's head. I know, right? You guys are this chat check is off the charts today. I'm not, you can go back and read the Bobby comments. I'm not, you guys might have the TV on with the kids and stuff. Not doing it. How heavy was the accent? I don't know. I didn't know. Like, in all honesty, like, not to be depressing, but like, my grandfather worked in the asbestos, like, came over from Italy when he was like 17, got a job working in the asbestos factory in Ambler, Keasbey, Madison. For those that don't know Ambler's like 45 minutes north of Philly, half hour north of Philly. And there was a big asbestos plant there for years. And my grandfather came over from Italy, worked in the plant, and was like dead by like 41. So yeah, I didn't know that guy. Died 11 days before my dad's first birthday. So not to be depressing, but yeah. So I didn't know the guy, but I was told he didn't really learn English, and apparently the only thing he knew was, "Do you want some gum?" But yeah. Bold first date line, says Zach. Yeah. April, it was weird. What was weird? What did I miss? You guys, oh my goodness. There we go. I think that's the chat check, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are fantastic. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great, as per usual. That is the chat check. Let's move into our morning rush, brought to you by Sky Motor Cars and SkyMotorCars.com. Sixers, like I said, I showed you guys the schedule for the remainder of the season. Here it is. Detroit's coming up tomorrow night, 7 o'clock tip-off at Detroit. Then Charlotte for that 12:30 tip. Hey, that's my mom's birthday, April 2nd. So that's nice. And then Cleveland, Indiana, Toronto, and then back home against Indiana and Detroit as well, with those times TBD. So there you go. So we all saw how pissed off the Sixers were. We're pissed off against the Sixers. Giannis Antetokounmpo better. He was not pissed off. In case you haven't seen it yet, here's Giannis post-game.
Get ready. Get ready. Let's open up with a joke. What do you call a cow on the floor? Anybody know? Ground beef. That's it. Now, next one, New York.
Yep. I don't know if he's been ending every press conference like that or starting every press conference like that after a win, but apparently he's got a book of dad jokes, and he just rattles one off at the end of the game. So I guess the next time they'll be in New York, and he's got another one for you. So that's fun. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. That was Morning Rush, brought to you by Sky Motor Cars, SkyMotorCars.com. Talk to you guys tomorrow. We have a very special guest. I'll be announcing that on social media a little bit later. Make sure you guys do subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you guys comment for your favorite Philly. On the video, by the way, comment on the video for opening day Phillies tickets. It's labeled there on our YouTube channel, so make sure you comment on that video. Make sure you subscribe as well. Thanks to Jim Hyden, who produced the program, did a phenomenal job. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Mark Farzy. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Again, I'll announce a special guest a little bit later today. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take it easy.